This is the area that we'll be in, Arica, in the left middle. And we're now at Miguel de Azapa, just a little bit in here. And we'll be moving ultimately up to Putri, which is there. And then tomorrow we'll move further across. Presumably this is an actual artifact. The first inhabitants were here from 7,000 to 6,000 BC, called Achaman, A-C-H-A, man, hunters and gatherers. This diorama represents a period during the 4000 to 2000 BC era. If these are visible in the film, they are the mummies that are approximately 7,000 years old. In this period of time, this represents the pre-formative period 2000 to 1000 BC, which was the ending of the Chinchorro culture. And the preservation of the dead was restricted to clay masks of the face alone. For what reason, it doesn't say. These are various headdresses. Those are crowns to the right, and then to the left are a turban woven out of some kind of, looks like a fabric type thing. And this is just a mat with water-based paint. It's interesting that this even survives. A nice example of the small fishing here. This wooden shaft for fishing, I don't know if, but it looks like that the last part would come out. This is the early formative period, which was 1000 to 500. And although a fishing culture primarily, they began to use vegetables. Of course, it looks like their mats were more sophisticated. There they have what looks like a fishing net. Actually, it's just a bag, apparently. And pottery, simple pottery. This represents the 500 to BC to 500 AD culture, which became primarily agricultural and became sedentary, and therefore the development of villages. Something that occurred in the other parts of the world maybe 8,000 years ago. Notice here the very involved shell necklace and the coil of material for basket making. This is some kind of hinged action weapon that I've never seen before. It kind of reminds me of an atlatl, and I think it is, because you can see the hook up at the right here. A typical array of products or artifacts of the 500 AD period. Rather nice looking coat type thing there. More decoration, creativity in the pots. Again, a dual pot, that's an interesting thing seen in different cultures. Have yet to have an explanation for it. These were stone clubs, and this, the bow and quiver of arrows. Imagine how deadly they were with these primitive items. Here, a rather elegant scarf or whatever, embroidered with feathers of different colors. How pretty that is, what it must have been like when it was new. The 500 to 1000 AD culture. More intricate designs, both in the form of bas relief as well as color. Very, very colorful duck bird, it looks like. And very interestingly painted devices of some sort for holding stuff. They're upside down, I think. Actually, these are woven caps. This is a child's mask on the child's skull. This is a wool tapestry representing a important figure. Female fertility figures. Probably little bowls and there's little devices there to the left and the center for holding pastes or whatever, drugs. These items are from the 1000 AD period and start to look very similar to many of the sophisticated bowls or gourds, jars, whatever, that I've seen elsewhere in the world. Those cups are kind of unique. And that's a cap with feathers in it. But notice how pretty these are. And notice this one, this is kind of unique, where it appears that there are little motifs. And these are fishing and farming implements of the 1000 to 17 or 1470 AD period. Presumably some of these are digging tools for seeds, stirring, maybe scythes there, using an animal bone. Here a diorama of villages in the foothills of the Andes. I don't know what that material is supposed to be on top. I don't know if it's llama skin or if it's a fiber. It would seem fiber would be more practical. But notice the environment, my God. And at this elevation on these barren hills, where would the water have come from for the farming? Notice this design that seems to crop up in every culture. Wooden clay figurines, not described whether these are toys or amulets. These are more of the mummies. Head of a child. Here they were also encased in bags. This represents the era 1470 to 1532 when the Incas moved down into this area, sometimes with great killing force, other times slowly. Look at the size of that malachite necklace. So for someone who's knowledgeable, much of these designs probably reflect Inca. These devices would be recognizable by a early 1800 American or European woman. With this baby, only the face is covered with the clay. The rest was left to desiccate on its own. This is a fisherman prepared for burial in robes of some sort, including in the burial his tools of his trade. This represents the period from 1532 AD onward and includes the introduction of European materials like metal, iron, and different tools. And these are tools used agriculturally in the highlands, but notice that shovel made out of a rock. Probably very serviceable, but very heavy, I would think. Other tools showing the European influence of iron. array of textiles and the raw materials for making same. The colors and the patterns. Donna might enjoy looking at this. Here are some of the loom designs. Imagine the skill it took to make such beautiful things with such primitive materials. This diorama represents typical artifacts in a current Aymara family home on the high plateaus. So you notice a mix of metal, ceramic, and a native pottery, an iron cast griddle, or skillet rather. Looks like dried peaches there, maybe corn or maize. And here a large traditional type of what I assume are pottery. Ropes and bridles of some sort maybe. You got modern looking sweaters. These are the tools of a modern shaman, cacique. These are walking staffs, a bag for carrying the special cocoa leaves, a poncho, and a hat. Some pretty designs. Imagine the rich tapestry of stories and intrigues that these canes could speak. This just shows some of the marriage traditions. It was considered, you were considered to become a whole person when you were married. These are some of the components of the participants in the carnival. I'm assuming that's some kind of bolo device, but I'm not really sure. Actually, it's a slingshot devices, and for some reason they used those balls for some purpose. Festival headdresses probably, and flutes and guitar type things. This is a giant olive press. Presumably used in this fashion. Apparently this was lowered down by turning it at that end on that screw. Something that came down here that pressed. This is an older press, a large rolling stone in the center, grapes dumped down there, and then a horse rotating that stone on this post, grinding up the olives and pressing them. These are just some various petroglyphs that have been brought in. I'll just show them at random. What these could possibly mean is anybody's guess. Although maybe those who study it have detected something. There's, for example, upper left-hand corner, a human figure, or it looks like a human figure. This rock is covered by little pick marks that look like they were the beginnings of mortar holes or grinding holes, but they're obviously not that in this context. What they are, I don't know. Again, this looks like a figure on the right with maybe the headdress that we saw at Valle de Encanto.